if you've been paying attention to what's hot in nerd culture, you know that they're finally announced a new Smash Brothers game that's hopefully to be released in December. And of course, there have been releases of new characters as well as plenty of rumors. Of
leaks, speculation.
So much good stuff. But for such an epic crossover game, they don't really have any board game representation. And we find that to be a crime.
It really is a tragedy. So that's why we have compiled a list of our top 10 picks for board game characters that we believe would be good characters in a Super Smash Brothers game. Or really, I suppose we're saying if there were to exist a Smash Brothers game just for board game characters, because these wouldn't make sense with video games.
You're Shrek Melee on board.
There's no Shrek on our list. So if you're not a Smash fan, I don't know, maybe you don't want to watch this, but if you are, it should be of interest to you. And one of the things that we tried to do is specifically, we did not include any third party, look at me. We didn't include any licensed characters, so, even though there's the games with Spider-Man in them, he's not going to be on our list. And we tried to have I think a balance between the two of us of characters that are iconic characters, that are interesting characters from games, original characters, and that are have a kind of make for a potentially good moveset, an interesting design within the game.
Yeah, it was really a balance of, are they popular in board games, and also can we actually picture them as a playable character? Because those are obvious things when Nintendo actually picks, because there's popular characters that obviously have to be chosen, as well as maybe like, oh, this guy would just make a cool fighter.
Yeah, and at the end of the video, definitely we should talk about characters in general in games because it's interesting. But let's just get to the meat of the list. I think I should start because this one's people can blame me.
This one's your pick.
All right, so we're starting off with number 10, top 10 board game characters we want in Smash. I really fought hard for this one. I really did. And let me just. Let me just say in advance that if you don't, just wait. Don't just stop the video after this one. The numbers 9 through 1 will get better. Just bear with me for number 10. Number 10 on our list.
I like how you made sure to say our list.
On our list is from Ticket to Ride, the Ticket to Ride train. Now, I'm actually sort of halfway between a train or I think maybe just a train conductor, like the guy on the front of the box who's doing his thing.
Jonathan's argument was that Captain Falcon, it's always just a racing game. Right. So why couldn't they just throw the conductor in there? Yeah. So maybe he's an echo of him.
Yeah, they can make up some weird new thing. I think we should, for each one of these, we can kind of say what we think maybe kind of how they would play, etc.
I cannot picture the train. I can see the conductor at least.
Well, here's what I'll say. Conductor, he could definitely throw out different types of trains at people. He could plan routes or something.
No, he's got to do something where you might get the rainbow locomotive, and that's got to go across the screen or something.
Well, that's probably his final smash.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
A train, you could drive around as a train. You could I don't know, maybe if you go from one part of the stage to another, it does damage. You have to do it in a specific way. There's all kinds of possibilities. And of course, a Ticket to Ride stage. Each of these characters would have their own stage, and that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think the biggest argument, as you said when we were arguing about this list beforehand, is as we said in the beginning, not just can they make a moveset, but how big are they in the board game unit? And Ticket to Ride is...
It's got to be represented somehow.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's out of the way. What's next?
So, number 9, we head to Greater Than Games for their Sentinels of the Multiverse. They have a great cast of characters to pick, but of course, we decided to go with Legacy. He's sort of the Superman, Captain America of the universe.
Definitely.
And I thought that would probably be a perfect pick in terms of representing board games. Honestly, I think a lot of them could be really make fun characters. We just decided, since he feels like the leader, that he'd be a good one for our list. He could easily be definitely a close range, trying to get into close range and melee character. I think he has laser vision stuff too, so maybe something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of cards you could look through in his deck that would be one-to-one good translations for a move. One of the things in looking for board game characters is a lot of board games just don't really focus on that. Either you're just a generic person or it's based on a license. And I think Sentinels is one of the first ones we both thought of as having really well-defined, interesting characters.
No, they made their license, which is nice.
Right.
And
of course, they're based on other superheroes in part, but it works.
I think while they're based on it, they've done so much work to it when it doesn't just feel like a quick knockoff. Like they have... Like if you look at the cards, they put issue numbers and quotes.
There's so much lore.
I think they've done the work that it'd be deserving to be on this list.
And you have plenty of options for a stage from all the different environments, the dinosaur area.
Oh yeah.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah. All right. So next we have number 8 on our list. Now, of course, one of the biggest, most pervasive themes in board games is the Lovecraft mythos.
But we did say we're going to try to avoid things that are sort of whether they're under copyright or in the
anything that's not an original creation of the designer.
So Cthulhu is out.
So instead, in lieu of Cthulhu or another elder god, we went with from Arkham Horror, Roland Banks.
Yes, there's a lot of characters from the Arkham files, and honestly, I'm sure you could fit anyone, which sort of what you need. This one, obviously, I think would play probably more like Fox, when more like keeping a distance, because he's known for a lot of his items are guns. In the Arkham games, whether it's the card game or the board game. So he'd probably be more of a range, sort of a keeping a distance character.
I definitely think there's got to be some kind of aspect of clue finding. Like maybe there's even something where like there's a clue, maybe it's an item, and if you get a bunch of clues they pull together.
Dealing damage to people, they drop clues in if he picks them up.
That
cool. Powers him up or something?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. I mean, for a stage, obviously, it would have to be Arkham, but you could have maybe like a Dreamlands.
Well, no, I mean, for me, the stage to pick would actually be the train from the Arkham card game from the Dungeon Legacy. That was really crazy.
And that way, you could have the Ticket to Ride train.
There you go.
On the train. I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, so Roland Banks, yeah, like there's definitely a bunch of Arkham characters that'd be cool, but he seems like kind of a good all-around character.
So number 7 sounds a bit more, we just mentioned how like some games have generic, and this sort of a generic name, but I think once again, it's one of those really big popular ones. Actually the werewolf from all the werewolf games.
Yeah, Werewolf as well as Ultimate Werewolf, One Night, all those werewolves. You may have seen this guy at the Bezier booth, but I think ours would be not that specific werewolf because, werewolf goes back to the roots of other kinds of games.
Well, I'm sure it'd be like Zelda where you sort of, I guess Zelda, when you mix and match sort of from games that make a sort of composite.
Right, different kinds of moves. We were both talking about maybe like they infect people, maybe?
Yeah, we said maybe they have a weird infection. One of the things I mentioned was maybe he'd actually, if he's able to deal enough damage, he sort of clones people. So you're like, which one's the real Mario or something?
That's pretty cool. Maybe you as like kind of create a doppelganger. I guess that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the Ditto substitute item they have in the new one.
I actually think there's that wolf like fox Pokemon that does that. I don't think in the Smash game, but in Pokemon he transforms into people. So there's your werewolf.
Yeah, I think it's a good representation to have in there is werewolf. All right, number 6 brings us back into the territory of more traditional board games, and it's another very popular one from Pandemic. The Medic. Of course, there are a number of characters in Pandemic, different roles you could go with, but it just sounds more interesting than playing as the researcher or the dispatcher. I don't know what they would do. But what would the Medic actually do as a character?
Well, I think the Medic would actually be built to be a team playing. Like he probably wouldn't be good on the solo like crazy party six.
So you're saying because something Smash doesn't really have is support characters.
Like they have a couple support items and you can use them in support. Like if you watch, I'm sure some of the actual 2-player things. But he'd be obviously geared for that. Like maybe he has ways to drop healing things that he can't pick up, but a teammate can.
Yeah, no, that would be very interesting. He could do stuff like his final smash could just be bringing about infection, and it's the opposite of what he does.
Well, maybe then we could take the bioterrorist from Pandemic and bring him in here.
Yeah, a great stage concept. If you had it's like a map of the world or something, or different areas become infected and you have to avoid them at different times or something. Yeah, there's some cool stuff you could do with that for sure. What do we got next?
So our next one, we decided to go into the realm of card games. And of course, we got to get one from Magic the Gathering. This is like the original card game, and they've been pushing, I mean, not for Smash, that I know of, but like to actually get some really good named characters to their planeswalkers. So we decided to go with Jace. One of the reasons behind that is since he's a more of a Magic user, he'd be a lot different. Like if you use Gideon, for example, he'd be a brawler. He'd probably be very similar to Captain America. But Jace is
Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon. Wow.
I get
Captain
him
America
confused too.
yeah. But Jace, because he's all about illusions, is his magic and telepathy. He could be a lot more interesting, like maybe making weird clones around the stage and trying to sort of zone people out with that.
Yeah.
I think that could add for a really interesting mechanic. Of course, a lot of the planeswalkers, there's plenty of them that could be very interesting. And of course, I mean, a stage could be literally planeswalking to all the different worlds where all the crazy stuff's going down.
I mean, you have to have some Magic representation in there, I think. Even though our list has board games, it's tabletop games, you know. And Magic is, I mean, it's it. That's the thing in tabletop games. So yeah, and I think you're right. Jace is the obvious pick. So we got some more things though that are really it from board games. I mean, we get more and more iconic. Our number 4 pick for characters to be in Smash is from Catan, a settler. A settler of Catan, you know, sort of like a villager of Animal Crossing. They're a settler.
It could be like the from the Catan stories. It could be
one of those characters from the
and you
Catan
can actually send the
stories.
bird out and stuff to like mess with people.
The text adventure that no one has heard of or played, probably. But if you just take from the game, I mean, there's plenty you could do. They could build houses on people.
Send sheep out.
Yeah, they could like they could have like a trade move where you, I don't know, somehow throw wood or bricks at people.
It could be trade. It's force trading. So when you throw it at someone, if they're holding an item, they actually switch it. So
That's funny. Yeah, you take their items from them. We were also talking about the robber or thief. I forget what the official terminology is, but that definitely I think would be a good assist trophy.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or a stage hazard. If he could, he either steals an item from you or just locks you out or somehow of something. I don't know, but it's Catan. I mean, you got to have that in there. What else do you got to have in there?
So we're approaching the top 3.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Real good stuff.
Number 3, you got to give it to Spike from Munchkin. I mean, he's an obvious pick. Munchkin's sort of one of those games that everyone usually has played at some point in their life. It has so many different iterations. The fact that we can name someone is always a good thing.
Yeah, he's one of the few real like mascots of board games. You know, there's plush dolls of him.
And because of the way Munchkin has worked with the game of all the tools, he has an arsenal of fun tools. I imagine being like a mix between like maybe Link and Villager. Like just pulling out like the chainsaw and then like the weird boots or something like.
Yeah, and then of course there has to be an item that is the knee pads of Allure.
They changed that, yeah.
Well, not in our Smash. In our Smash, you just win if you get the knee pads of Allure. But maybe that could be a mechanic where he has a help thing, or he has to make someone else help. Or maybe, what if it was even, you know how Cloud has like the meter that you
kind of fill in?
Well, like if you gained levels, like and you get to level 10 and that's his final Smash and he unleashes something.
Or not Final Smash, a powered up version, whatever it is, yeah.
Divine Intervention is something you could do. So yeah, I mean Munchkin, it's a funny one you got to represent. All right, now number 2, we mostly picked from more modern board games, certainly the classics, but we didn't really go into like the old Parker Brothers, Milton Bradley kind of thing. But for number 2, we had one spot for him, and that is from Monopoly. The Monopoly guy, who I believe his actual name is, it's like Uncle Moneybags or Uncle Pennybags.
No, we thought, I mean, he's one of those iconic guys from the very beginning. You know, I feel like he's like the Mario. He's got to be in there. And I want him, even though, like, sure, you can go to the game, but I feel like he has to be built so everyone hates him. Like, he somehow just makes the matches go on forever.
I mean, you can have a Monopoly stage where somehow you pass a go and you collect money, and there's an alternate rule where you collect from free parking.
His final smash is he puts you in jail.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That would be great. I mean, he also could just do a weird thing like he has a cane and a hat. He could just like throw that at people. You know, completely unrelated from the mechanics of the game.
Well, no. What he should be like his regular attacks would would be like using the cane and stuff. But like maybe his side B is he picks up a community chest and throws it. And since it's random, you don't know whether it's going to hit for a lot of damage. Maybe you heal them or something.
Yeah, that could be like the I don't know what they're called, the big party balloons in Smash that a bunch of random items drop out. Community chest could come up. All right, so I took the blame for number 10, which is why it's now your turn to give our number 1.
All right, so we had a hard time narrowing down the list and putting up our order, but then this one came up, and all of a sudden we're just like, yeah, he's number 1, like right off the bat. Feel free to hate us for it, but number 1 goes to Meatball.
That's right, just a Meatball.
Which it sounds silly at first, but then when you think of like in Smash Brothers, Game & Watch is in there.
He sure is.
And like that's one of the original ones, and Meatballs are like the original piece.
I do feel like they are like, we were talking about mascots with Munchkin, they're kind of the unofficial mascot of games. Like if you go to any convention website about board games, you see a Meatball somewhere. They're in every game.
And of course, we could make it like a Meat Fighter maybe where you can customize it a little bit with fun stuff.
Yeah, all the different colors. I don't know, I mean, there's so many, what would his moveset be? Who knows what because he's in so many kinds of games.
Well, he could be a worker placement. Like he can maybe throw dice or something.
Yeah, it could be like a composite. Maybe he just has cards and dice and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe he has a board. Tiles. He could throw out tiles and
his final smash is the D20.
Yeah. So that's our official top 10. I think we'll probably spend more time talking about all the people we really wanted to be on the list.
Right.
And we couldn't narrow it down
Here are some
hard
of
enough.
Our honorable mentions.
Yeah, honorable mentions.
Cosmic Encounter. This one, along with the next one, which we'll get to, is partly because there's so many. It's like, how do we choose one? And we didn't really feel like there's the one obvious pick as much.
Yeah, like you could go with, on the box cover, it was the pacifist/parasite.
I think it was the parasite on a pacifist.
Right, it's technically the parasite's artwork, but the pacifist is the alien. But like, what would that really do? I mean, there's certainly an opportunity to have one of these guys in there.
I think they should use the human.
Great idea. Along those same lines, next one was somebody from the Argent universe or the Indians universe.
One of the reasons we didn't choose this is, to me, I had a feeling that, well, first of all, they have so many good fighters. It's like, I don't know them as well as you do. Like, who do you choose? I have a feeling that they'd end up being like the Fire Emblem. Where some people would just be like, okay, we get it. There's 6 of them in there.
I feel like there's enough of them to just be in their own fighting game, which technically there is a BattleCon online now, so it's almost irrelevant. But of course, we thought we'd mention them. And then we had some of the licensed ones we were saying we didn't include.
But we thought we'd say them so no one gets angry at us.
Like you said, Cthulhu before.
Yeah. Like Sherlock
Holmes.
A horde of zombies.
Yeah, that's the one thing. We have the farming rep. We have a Lovecraft rep. I feel like there should be a zombie in there.
You probably could get a zombicide one. It's just that we don't know any zombicide.
Maybe a zombicide zombie.
But also Zeus, because you love those Greek
myth.
And this
Greek
one was
gods.
actually one that was on the list. A lot of arguing, but Drizzt, I believe it's.
I think it's Drizzt.
Drizzt. I'm not good at pronouncing.
From Dungeons and Dragons, or any kind of Dungeons and Dragons rep, I think would be good in there. And then you could also have like a Pathfinder rep. I just
Goblin. I think they use them a lot.
Just a Goblin, yeah, that would be a pretty good one. But yeah, even I was saying just like if you didn't want to do a named character like a paladin or a fighter or as a stage hazard you have a dragon or obviously a dungeon. There's different things you could do. We were also talking about Root.
Yeah.
One of those little characters, because you were saying there's always someone new.
Usually there's like the new Smash characters, like I think of Corrin, because the Fire Emblem game just came out. So I think that's one of the reasons why he was added.
Or they always have a new Pokemon from the new Pokemon game.
So I thought the Wanderer, personally the raccoon, because that's who I played as.
The Vagabond,
The Vagabond. But I think that would be a hilarious one.
Some other ones we kind of thought about, and we also relegated some to stages. King of Tokyo.
Yeah. We thought that could be a great stage, especially because in the game, if whoever's in Tokyo can hit everyone, but everyone can hit him. I thought if you're in the lead, you're in Tokyo, so it makes it so you can deal more damage, but you take more damage.
Yeah, which I think is a genius mechanic. I think that'd be really cool. Dixit, just because we thought it'd be really pretty.
Yeah, no, that's just it. We thought it'd be a pretty stage to fight on.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah, that could be a really fun, weird, randomized one, and could be really interesting. Probably maybe a bit bigger than the Haunted House from like Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion stage.
Maybe more like the the Zelda stage, the temple, I think it's called.
So maybe it's that like rooms could move around and stuff.
Oh, that mystic elevator.
Oh yeah, mystic elevator. That would be in there. One of the ones we really think would be a cool stage is Fireball Island.
Oh,
that's a no-brainer. Yeah. I mean, you have a giant volcano. It goes off every once in a while. They're trying to get treasures and stuff. That would be really fun. Honestly, I went home after we made this list and thought of like 12 more people that should be on it. There's so many. I'll just say them. Like I thought of the guy from Codenames. He could do something. He could throw the words out, some kind of party game representation. Another classic one I thought would be good that we didn't think of is somebody from Clue, like Colonel Mustard or something like that.
Oh, that is a good one.
You could just have a candlestick and hit people with it. Find secret passages. That'd be a great stage.
And what you could actually do is if you change colors, it's actually changing all the Clue characters.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So like how you have the male or female or something.
Yeah. The Echo fighters, as it were, maybe.
Well, not true Echo. Like it actually is the same person. It would be skins. Sort of like how Marv actually goes to do American overalls. I think it's his golf uniform.
Yeah. So yeah. Any other final thoughts? It was really interesting thinking about this because I think we've talked about this a lot of times too when we see like cosplay, for instance, at Gen Con, about how unlike movies and video games, there really aren't as many recognizable characters, but digging for them, they exist. They're just not always as at the forefront. But
right, I think there's a lot of them. I think the problem is that some of them aren't as obvious. Like when you see Spider-Man, you're like, that's Spider-Man.
Sure.
Like even if you're not heavy into Spider-Man lore. But like there was a great cosplay at last Gen Con of a Magic card that got banned recently. But unless you know really about the heavy Magic community and stuff, you'd probably be like, you're some weird dark wizard or something. Like
yeah.
So I think that's the problem. Like some of these characters maybe don't shine as obvious as the main superheroes or anime characters.
I would love it. I mean, even if it wasn't a video game, I would love an actual crossover board game that was like the same spirit, where you did have a bunch of these characters coming in, sort of like BattleCon has had some, like, and other games have had some, like this guy from this game is in here.
No, because it's the Indies universe. They crossed over. Like you recognize some of the people from the Origin.
But I think they even had like somebody in like an edition who was from like a different game, like not just.
I know. I think it's level 99. They had they do have a sort of thing like that going out. Exceed.
Oh, Exceed, right. That has,
which of course has Shovel Knight and the guy from the Penny Arcade, which Automata. I think it is.
Yeah, near, not near.
And they have a bunch of other promo characters. But that definitely...
It's a cool thing, and I think something like that would be cool to raise awareness of who the characters are, because I do think that adds more to the fun of these games.
Well,
when you know
I mean,
about
Smash has shown that to be true. I mean, Fire Emblem, I think, exploded here because of Smash.
Or like a lot of people in America, didn't know who Ness was when it came out.
Right.
Or
I mean Captain Falcon.
Yeah. I mean, especially like kids today who start playing Smash probably don't know who half the roster is.
Right.
So it's fun to give them like more of a personality for themselves. We could honestly do another 3 videos on like stages and items and more characters that we think.
And I'm sure the comment section would also make for quite an interesting read for each of them. We
could have had like a top 30. We really tried to cut it down, to keep it to like the more iconic ones, like we were saying. Please let us know what you think of this list. If you have any different ideas for movesets or items that might go along with these guys, or your own suggestions, because there are some really fun ones you could have in there. I want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually, like, I tried to think of some of the movesets, but there's some people I know who can easily go, like, the terminology, like, oh yeah, this would be working as zone character, designed to keep this distance away. Like, they can go into detail, and that's really cool.
Right, we're not pro players, so.
Not even pro players, just game designing. Like, you understand the mechanics of, like, okay, he works so he's meant to shield more or something. And that would be really interesting to see some of these people really flesh out the characters a lot more than we are in this video.
So there you have it, our top 10 plus other stuff, characters from board games we would want in Smash Brothers. I think they would call it Super Parker Brothers.
Yeah, that's great.
So, anyway, thanks so much for watching. Follow us on all our channels and media. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Will, an echo of Jonathan.
I think we're both DLC. And this has been Roll for Crit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome board game content from Roll for Crit.
And please leave a comment. We're lonely.